Have you ever recorded yourself singing and listened back and then immediately thought, oh no, I do not sound good? But what if listening to yourself doesn't have to be full of judgment? What if it's an opportunity to learn from your voice? You see, I pressed record this week, and it gave me a pretty good reality check of where I am vocally, musically, and what I need to work on. So today I want to talk about why pressing record can be such a powerful part of your singing practice. Welcome to Singer-Songwriter, a space to reconnect with your voice, your music, and the songs waiting to be written. I'm Lainey, singer and songwriter, voice and creativity coach. If you've ever dreamed of writing and singing your own songs, but doubt or perfectionism keeps getting in the way, then grab that notebook full of ideas. It's time to open your voice, trust your sound, and express yourself freely. Your songs are waiting. Let's bring them to life. Hey friend, welcome and welcome back. Here we are for another episode of the Singer-Songwriter podcast, and today we're talking about recording and listening back and what that simple practice can do to help you improve your singing. So before we get into that conversation, if you've been listening for a while, I would love to hear your feedback. So go to Apple Podcasts, scroll down to the little write a review, leave your 5 stars and a little message for me. And I look forward to hearing from you. And if you are new here, welcome. I'm so glad you're here. We've got a growing library or treasure trove of episodes for you to go back and listen. We talk about singing and songwriting and creativity, the artist's journey, the creative process. So if that kind of stuff lights you up the same way it does me, then you are in the right place. Welcome. Let's talk about this really valuable practice tool that is recording. So like I said, I pressed record this week. So I've been working toward recording my summer project, which has ended up being finishing some old songs that I've been carrying for a really long time. Last week I talked about why I tend to put off recording my songs. And this week I actually practiced recording. So I wasn't trying to create the finished product yet, the finished recording. That's really not what my intention was for this week. My intention was to simply practice the process of recording. And that ended up being so useful that I wasn't just trying to create this polished masterpiece. I went in with the distinction of practicing recording, practicing the process. So what I did was I set up the equipment and I decided to simplify things rather than try to mic up my acoustic piano and figure out all the technical aspects of that. I just decided to use my electric keyboard. That in and of itself was so important, to just take away all the complicated questioning of how do I do all this technical stuff. It's so much easier to just start with what you know, start where you are, meet yourself where you are. And so while yes, I prefer the sound of the acoustic piano and the feel of it when I'm playing it, I decided to record on the electric keyboard because it was easy. I just plug it in. I knew it was pretty straightforward for me. So I was off to a great start. I did the gain staging, so kind of like figuring out the levels of the voice and the keyboard, the balance of it all. And yeah, I started recording. I recorded the keyboard, the accompaniment part, and then I recorded the vocals, and I listened back, and I heard things. I heard things that I needed to work on. I heard where my breath support was kind of falling out, where I needed to be more consistent vocally. I heard where I was kind of rushing ahead or falling behind, not keeping a steady tempo. And, initially I could have interpreted it as like, I'm not ready. I'm not good enough. What do I even think I'm doing here? You can go into a downward spiral with the negative thoughts, the self-doubt, the perfectionism, the comparison, all of it. It's easy to start with one little thought and then spiral down. But instead, I took it as information. I listened from a place of discernment and truth. And it reminded me of what a powerful practice tool recording is. This is, something I've used throughout my whole musical career. Listening back to recordings of yourself. If you can get through that moment of judgment before you start to spiral downward, if you can catch yourself and instead think, what can I learn from this? How can this help me improve my singing? What is really happening here? If you can look at it through a lens of truth, discernment, musicianship, artistry, craftsmanship, from a genuine place of truth, there is so much this practice can do for you and for your singing and for your songwriting. This is one of the best ways to hear what's going on in the music, in your voice, and know what you need to address when it comes to practicing. So I have 4 points that I want to make, 4 things that I remembered through this recording session, and I want to share them with you here. So first, number 1, listening back gives you an outside perspective. You hear things when you're outside the music. So when we are singing, when we're actually singing, we are inside the experience of singing. And the voice is really special because that instrument is part of you. It is inside of you. You are the living, breathing instrument. Your body is your instrument. And so you're feeling your breath. You're feeling the resonance, the vibration in your body. You are immersed in the music, and not just feeling your voice and feeling the sound moving through you, but you are also in the music lyrically, emotionally. So you're thinking about the words, you're feeling the words and expressing that through your voice. You are making musical choices. Maybe you are playing the accompaniment. You are feeling the music and responding to what's happening in the moment. So you're not necessarily able to objectively hear everything you're doing. And it actually wouldn't be great to be analyzing what you're doing as you're doing it in a really logical, methodical kind of way. You want to be immersed in the experience of singing. You want to be immersed in the emotion of the music, of what you're singing about, what you're saying. So if you're analyzing technique while you're doing that, there's a little bit of this that we do, but it becomes natural muscle memory through practice. But if your mind is in technique the whole time, if you're thinking too much, we're going to hear that. You can hear when it's analytical rather than when it's a felt experience. When you listen back, it's a totally different experience. When you listen back, you do become the observer. You are outside of yourself, listening to the recording of yourself. So you can notice things that you couldn't hear while you were making the music. So in this way, recording kind of becomes a mirror, like not a visual mirror, like an aural mirror, an audio aural mirror. We'll go with that. And rather than listening in judgment, you're seeing what's actually happening. So you're not living in the fantasy world of how potentially great you could sound if you tried to record. You're also not living in the false reality of, oh, this sounds awful. I'm so bad at this. I shouldn't even try. This is not worth anyone's time. Like it can go down, 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 down. Rather than going to one of those extremes, you're meeting yourself where you are and looking at it in the mirror, like looking at the truth in the face from a detached, objective place. Secondly, number 2, recording shows you what you need to practice. So it can really help you form a practice plan. Like, what do I need to work on? What do I need to practice? So it's very practical in this way. Instead of saying, oh, I don't like that recording. Oh, that sounds so bad. You're asking, well, what am I actually hearing? What am I reacting to? Or what am I hearing that I don't like? What sounds off? And what can I do about that? So maybe for me, as I recorded this, I realized my breath support was not consistent. I also heard that my tempo was inconsistent. I was rushing certain sections. So I know that I need to practice with a metronome in certain places. I know that I need to work on some breathing exercises, make intentional choices about where I'm going to breathe. What else? Yeah. So this is giving me my practice plan. Listening back with discernment helps me realize, okay, I need to practice with a metronome and I need to work on my breath support. So recording can take you from this vague idea of this isn't it. This is not what I want to having a specific thing to practice to improve that thing that you vaguely didn't like, whatever it was. So this has so much value because you are targeting the thing that you need to work on. And that's what musicians do. We practice, we improve, we smooth it out, and it's better the next time. So now you have something you can work on. Number 3, there's a difference between healthy musicianship and perfectionism. So there is a line here, and it's important to watch that line carefully. When I listened back, what I realized is that I need more practice. If I want to record this well, I need more practice. Wanting to do something well isn't the same as demanding perfection, because I've been there too. I've been there in the demanding perfection of myself. It's not a fun place to be. But there is healthy musicianship and wanting to do your craft well. And that's okay. That's actually important, because healthy musicianship says, I care about this enough to practice. This matters to me. I know I can do this well if I invest the time and energy into it. I can do this well. But perfectionism sounds more like, I can't let anyone hear this if there is a single flaw. It kind of stops you from doing it at all. Like, the healthy musicianship points you toward the work that needs to be done so that you can get deep into the work itself. But perfectionism points you away from it. It kind of is a deflector, or repelling you. That's the word I'm looking for. Like the magnet, but it's the opposite. It pushes it away. It repels you from the act of doing the work itself, because perfectionism says, I can't let anyone hear this unless it's perfect. It's this extreme all or nothing kind of mentality. So you can acknowledge that you're not where you want to be without turning that into some judgment about what it means about you as a musician. It's okay to want to do your craft well. That is musicianship. Where we want to be careful is crossing that line into perfectionism. So this is just a place where you just need to check yourself. I do this all the time. I check myself. Is this leading down the path of perfectionism? Or am I looking at this with clear eyes, with the clear perspective of a musician who cares about her craft and wants to do it well? Number 4. This is my final point, and it may be just the simplest takeaway from today's episode. Practice pressing record. You don't have to make a recording to share. You don't have to make a beautiful masterpiece. You don't even have to really be prepared to record. Practice pressing record. Practice the process from start to finish of setting up, pressing record, singing, listening back, noticing what you notice, and trying again. Because as you do that, you're practicing more than singing. You're practicing that entire experience. You're noticing where your mind is as you move through that process, from setting up to recording and listening back and learning from that, taking it all in, and then applying that to your next practice session, trying again. As this process becomes more familiar, as you normalize the experience, it feels so much less intimidating. All the technical aspects, all of the mental hurdles you're jumping over, the obstacles you're moving around, it becomes less intimidating because it's more familiar. Like, oh, here we are again. Okay, I can do this. I've done this before. I can do it again. This practice of pressing record can help you hear things you don't notice when you're in the experience of making music. It can help you develop a plan for your next practice session. You hear what you need to practice, what you need to work on. And so you can zero in right on that work that needs to be done and do it. And as you move through this process, you are practicing balancing healthy musicianship and letting go of the perfectionism and the tendency to kind of spiral downward in self-doubt. Practicing that moment of, ooh, I don't like what I hear. What am I going to do with that? Am I going to ride that spiral on down to, I shouldn't be making music, I'm giving up, I'll just quit? That's an extreme, okay? But I'm going extreme here. Or are you going to choose the healthy musicianship route where you are growing in artistry, where you are applying what you're hearing, what you're learning, you're applying that to your practice and using it as a tool to improve your singing? Choose your path. You can grow and improve. Or you can stay stuck in that downward spiral that leads you away from doing the work. As for me, I am going deeper into the work. I know what I need to practice, and it feels really good to be in this stage of, okay, it's time to apply what I'm learning to my practice sessions and hone in on those skills, because I know I can do this well if I devote time and energy into my craft. So when you listen back, the question doesn't have to be, do I like how my voice sounds? It can be something more like, what can I learn from hearing my voice? What is my voice showing me? And you might notice things that you love, and you might notice things that you want to work on. And both are okay. The goal isn't to listen without ever hearing something that you need to improve, because we are imperfect and we are human, and that's a beautiful thing. The goal here in practicing pressing record, the goal is to hear yourself without immediately turning against yourself. It's to hear yourself and stay on your own side. Stay on the healthy musicianship side of yourself that wants to grow and wants to improve and wants to learn and get better. So try it this week. Try pressing record. That's it. Just choose something simple. It could be a song that you already know, you feel good about. You could even just do an improvisation. Maybe it's just part of a song that you have this part down and it feels really good and solid, even if you don't have the full song. Maybe you just record that one little bit that you do have and listen back and see what you really love about it and what you want to work on. So record it once, listen back one time, and then write down one thing you like and one thing you want to practice. and then stop there. That's it. Keep it simple. Keep it light, but have fun with it. This is a learning process as much as it is the creative process. You don't have to wait until you feel good enough to record yourself. Recording can actually be part of how you get better because it gives you information. It gives you perspective. It helps you notice those things that you can't hear when you are inside the music. And it gives you an opportunity to have that objective viewpoint without trying to get into that analytical mind while you're making the music, if that makes sense. So when you're in the music, you can be fully present in the music. And then when you listen back, you can listen with awareness, with perspective, with clear vision about what you want to practice, what you want to work on, what you know you can do better at. And it also helps you practice just being heard, even if it's by yourself. Being heard by yourself is a beautiful place to start. So press record, listen back, and practice allowing yourself to be heard. Thanks for listening, friend. If this episode moved you or inspired you in some way, would you please leave a review on Apple Podcasts or share this episode with someone who's been praying for a vocal breakthrough? Until next time, keep nurturing that song in your heart. Lots of love.